Hello guys, welcome back to another episode of the Backmarkers F1 Show, episode 64, recapping the Italian Grand Prix, and it's Forza Ferrari after this Italian Grand Prix.
No, not Sebastian.
Ooh, ouch. Don't go there just yet, please.
It's too early.
Yeah, a little too early still. Great to have you all along here. Chris, Tyler, and Shaker all here to recap this race for you, and I'm very proud to say another good race on the trot.
Yeah,
what is that, like 6?
I was just talking to my buddy today, and I'm like, after France, I don't think we've had a bad race this year in the calendar. No. There hasn't been like a race that I've like almost fell asleep for.
Knock on wood.
Yeah.
You have to knock on wood.
No, I think it's this one, right? Knock on wood there, right?
Yeah, that's usually.
It's a tale of kind of two halves of the season, right? The first half was pretty brutal, boring, and now the second half of the season has been pretty exciting. So
yeah, I mean, take the first 8 races out of the equation, and we have a title fight on our hands. But,
yeah, seriously.
We actually still don't. Even though after all this exciting racing, still no title fight. Still Lewis. Though he dropped 3 points to Valtteri, so I guess watch out.
Well, the last
2 points actually. You got the fastest lap.
Correct.
So it was only 2 points. So
last 5 races though, he's the largest point scorer. I think he has 97.
Hamilton
I think.
still?
Yeah, Hamilton. Yeah.
Wow.
So, I mean, it shows that'll come in our power rankings post Italian Grand Prix after this episode, and we kind of explain as to why he's always ranked either 1 or 2, because even when he doesn't win the race or he doesn't do so well, somehow he just always finds to extend his championship. So
he's a consistent man.
Yeah, for sure. And it's also interesting the dynamic of the last couple of races where, since Austria, it's kind of been the story of Max Verstappen, and now it's shifted to where it's the story of Charles Leclerc.
Yeah.
So we'll see where the next couple of races will go and whether that will go back to Hamilton or...
Well, if the young person trend continues, George Russell was due next. Possibly Lando Norris after that.
Yeah.
Alex
Albon will get a win in there somewhere.
Kind of. He's had it already, sort of. But so, yeah, it's been really exciting. And, we'll get all into it. And I guess we'll start like we try and do in chronological order, trying to remember all the events of the race.
Should we start with qualifying?
Yes, that was actually the first thing. I was messaging about you guys about this on Saturday because the most embarrassing Q3 qualifying I've ever seen.
So they did this in this happened this year in NASCAR. That exact same thing where no one, or like one person made the line or no one made the line in that timed formula, because they kind of shifted to the same qualifying standards as F1. And they immediately changed the rules. Right, the next race they changed the rules to qualifying, and I forget what it is now. But anyways, so I would expect either that they just outsmarted themselves, or that maybe there could be a slight rule change from the FIA. I don't know what rule they would change though. They have to be out by the 1 minute mark.
That, or you could go back to old school qualifying where you keep Q1 and Q2 the way it is, but Q3 it's a 1 lap shootout, so one driver on the track, you get one chance and that's it.
Oh yeah, that'd be good.
Because that's how they used to do it. They used to all be waiting in the pits watching whoever was out on track. And I think, in my opinion, it would build the excitement more, because you would see like Lewis Hamilton, who set the benchmark, and then we can just focus on Charles Leclerc's lap. Now we don't really get to see the pole lap because we're focusing on, X, Y, and Z car,
right?
Where the car behind is setting the fastest lap, which we don't get to see only when he crosses the line. So I think that would be more exciting and would avoid stupid situations like this.
Yeah, I mean, you always have silly situations that lead to something, right? So I don't know, it could be interesting.
But they would get a warm up lap, right, to get their tires.
Okay. Yeah. So like they do now, you get your tires ready, but it's just that one chance in Q3.
Yeah.
Q1, Q2, I think we don't really have that problem because there's enough time for guys to get out. But yeah, it was just ridiculous. And like we sometimes will get comments like, "Oh, like you guys don't know what you're talking about." All the millions of dollars that goes into F1, and they couldn't even get their cars out in time to qualify, so they don't know what they're talking about.
I don't know what's going on over there.
It was crazy.
I was surprised there wasn't one guy that like a tandem that went out, like a Sainz and Norris, or something like that. Did Norris
no
make
one
the
did.
Q3?
Norris didn't make
but you
it.
know what I mean, like a teammates to do
I
that.
think Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas went out at one point together, right?
In the first run,
The first run, yeah.
But you bring up a good point, because if you're the Renaults, for example, or if you're Lance Stroll, like Lance Stroll didn't have anybody to tow him anyway, so why don't you just go out early?
Yeah.
Or, like, let's say Ferraris, for example, because here's where the whole Sebastian Vettel thing kind of ties in, because his frustration, I think, started on Saturday. So he was supposed to get the tow the second run. He gave the tow in the first run, which is why his time wasn't as good, because he had no slipstream. And the second run, when Leclerc kind of played a little head games there and didn't really go ahead of Sebastian, he was kind of frustrated by that. But if you were Ferrari, why don't you just go out 30 seconds, a minute before? You're still going to get the tow with the two cars, and you're going to have an open track.
Yeah.
So I don't see what the point was waiting till the absolute last second, and then everybody comes out at once.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was just silly from everyone. So at least it's over. We had a not silly race.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
But it was just, when they're going down, like going through the grid at the start of the race, it's like P7 no time set, P8 no time set, and
Yeah.
it's like, what is going on?
And it's
If
like,
someone didn't watch qualifying and tune in, they'd be like, what is going on here?
and as the old saying goes, you have to be, if you want to win the lottery, you have to buy a ticket.
That's true.
Yeah.
So you can talk about the slipstream effect all you want, but if you don't set a time, forget about it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what slipstream you were looking for.
Exactly. And it screwed guys like Lance Stroll, for example, who could have maybe started P7, P6, being a little optimistic, but Alex Albon too probably could have started higher. And obviously Vettel could have maybe got on the front row with with Charles Leclerc himself. So yeah, I'm glad that's over, but the kind of stupidity of some of the teams spoiled over into Sunday when Alfa Romeo set the wrong tires on Kimi Räikkönen's car.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how you do that. Like, how do you screw that up? Obviously,
Like,
you made it to Q3.
Maybe it was just a miscommunication between the stewards and the team, but I agree. I don't think
know.
there's any way that
That's
should happen.
unacceptable.
Yeah, they said that they weren't sure of the rule of starting in the pit lane, the pit lane start procedure.
But
But
ask someone.
yeah, like it's like if we're confused about the pit lane start procedure, it's going to be difficult for us maybe to find out. We're going to have to Google search it. You're right there in the grid. Just go ask somebody wearing an FIA shirt. Like if you were working in the FIA, we're just talking to be like, oh yeah, by the way, can we start on fresh tires for Kimi? Or-
Yeah.
No.
I'd be like, okay, thanks,
You
man.
idiot.
I just don't understand it. Like all that money and all the experts and the data analysis, like how do you get that wrong?
There's something in the air at Monza this week. It was just
You expect that maybe in Belgium after the summer break,
right, but
Yeah.
Oh my God! So
yeah, it was crazy. I mean, so what was it? He got did he get a stop and go or a 10-second stop and go?
I think he
something
got
like
a 10-second stop and go.
yeah,
Yeah.
that? So that ruined his race. He already somewhat ruined it though in qualifying and in practice as well. He crashed in the same corner.
yeah,
Not
exactly.
the greatest weekend for Raikkonen.
No, especially after his performance last year at Monza.
Yeah.
And tune into our power rankings because Kimi drops quite a few places in
no,
our
don't
rankings.
spoil it.
It's just a little teaser. It just shows people out there that they're gonna have to watch our
That's
power
true.
rankings, which will be dropping after this video. So stay tuned. All right, so getting into the race events, and we got to talk about our boy Max Verstappen. He's been a little quiet post summer break. Obviously, he had the crash in Belgium, had the engine penalties here, and then kind of just made a weird mistake. I didn't see it because the replay. First of all, when they went to show the race restart replays, the replay.
They kept
guy-
on jumping
yeah,
to
they
other
messed it
people. They
up.
never showed the actual
Yeah.
full clips. I actually watched it today, and it seemed like he just missed the turn.
Yeah,
he
he
just kept
outbraked
just
himself.
Just misjudged it. It broke his front wing.
yeah.
Had to box after
I
that.
think he just
lap.
went right over the curb and went right into whatever that area is called.
Turn 1 and 2.
Yes, that one.
And I don't know, he didn't really make much of an impact. Yeah, he finished P8, but it wasn't one of those storming Verstappen drives from the back of the grid like we've seen in the past couple seasons.
No, you think that would have to do with him having to go on tires early in the race and then struggling at the end of the race to when he really could have made his push. So
mean-
a mistake at the beginning of the race really cost him the whole race.
It wasn't a big push, but I think if you compare it to, he almost got sort of the same time penalties as Vettel. I think it was a pretty good performance. Not like fantastic, like you guys said, not like a Max Verstappen performance that we usually see, but in terms of that, I think it was pretty well done. I know Vettel had a lot more to deal with in the later half of the race. Max kind of made his way through at the beginning, so it was a little bit different situation, but I thought it wasn't too bad.
He still scored points, so it
Yeah.
was, at the end of the day, kind of damage control. But I'm just remembering I think it was 2018 at the U.S. Grand Prix where I think he came from way back in the grid, like 18th to 5th, something
Yeah.
like that. And he's had a couple of those in Russia as well. So, yeah, he was a little bit quiet. And like I said at the top of the show, Charles Leclerc kind of stealing that thunder a little bit from Max, who really kind of through no fault of his own a little bit through fault of his own in the first 2 races with those small mistakes, resulting in a DNF in Belgium, and then this kind of. But again, when you're starting at the back of the grid, you can't really expect for much results at the front. So yeah, that was that. And after the Verstappen crash, you kind of get into the rhythm of the race, and not long after that, I think, what was it, maybe the 10th or 11th lap? Again, thanks to TSN, by the way, who's always in commercial.
I know.
The best
It screwed
times.
us up.
It's ridiculous. Like, honestly, like, people are just going to start streaming it illegally because you just can't stand commercials.
Well, like
But
I always fast forward through the commercial, and I like could see in the top corner because in Canada what they do is they have commercials in the bottom half of the corner, and then like in this little tiny square up top, they have the race that's going on, so you can still kind of see what's going on.
it's tiny.
And like I saw a yellow flag pop up as I'm fast forwarding. I'm like, oh, what's going on here? So I had to like completely rewind and like looking, like squinting to see what's going on. And, like, I couldn't believe my eyes. I thought it was a small screen. That's why everything was going on. But no, it was Vettel was actually just being an idiot.
Yeah, I saw it the same way, too. I saw a red car spin, and you can't see the number, but you're just like, oh, for fuck's sakes.
Oh, here goes, yeah.
Yeah, and then, oh my God, exactly. I couldn't agree with you more. And I know we've praised Vettel at times on this show, and we've been called Vettel fanboys or Ferrari fanboys, whatever the term is. But just a completely stupid move on his part to re-enter the track that way. And I really think that the 10-second penalty I agree with.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, a harsher penalty too. I don't know what else they could have given. Maybe they just black flagged him in that sense. I would have been okay with that as well. The reason why I say that is because when you look at the crash that could have happened, it was similar to the F2 crash that took Antoine Hubert's life. Was a
not
T-bone.
as big of a not as high of a speed.
Correct, but still,
but
it would have
still.
been a T-bone impact to the side of the driver there. Vettel would have been hit.
Well, that or his Stroll launch over the nose of him, right, and go
Absolutely.
flying. So
Very lucky to escape that circumstance, for
yeah,
sure.
Stroll was smart to keep his head up
For about
And-
5 seconds.
Yes.
For about 5 seconds.
for about 5 seconds. Yes, but to avoid that collision. But I guess he must have been flustered as well, and then
Well,
made the exact same mistake Vettel did and ran through the track.
the best way to voice your frustration is to show it, right?
That's
So
Yeah.
true. This is exactly what he did.
He's like, he got onto his engineer. He's like, man, this idiot just jumped out in front of me. His engineer was like, what? I didn't see it. Like, let me show you.
Yeah.
He just lights up the rears.
Exactly
And,
like this.
And Pierre Gasly probably saw what happened to Stroll. And was like, what the heck? And then like has Stroll do the same thing to him. He's like, what is going on here?
Oh
Poor
my
Pierre
God.
Gasly was a passenger and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
And-
mean, did a good job to, somewhat escape. Not
He
as
got on the
bad.
gravel.
Yeah.
That was it.
Well, and I think it shows too when you've got experienced F1 drivers, you can kind of avoid a bigger accident. Because again, the fact that Stroll was able to continue in the race, Pierre Gasly as well, it could have ended a lot worse
Yeah, I could have.
for all three of them. But what did you think of Stroll getting only a drive-through versus the 10-second for
I was
Vettel?
fine with it
Yeah.
Yeah.
because he didn't make contact with another driver.
Yeah, and I
He
think
didn't go right into a race. He did go into a racing line, I guess, but it was more. I found Vettel's was more dangerous than
Well,
Lance's.
he made another driver spin out and almost hit,
Yeah,
sides.
and I think
I
the
think that was
contact
the
had to do
rule,
a
yeah.
lot with it. The contact, yeah.
Yeah.
I believe that was the deciding factor. Like Shaker said, that Vettel caused it. So Stroll, again, it is difficult because you sit so low in the car. It's tough to see.
That's when you
around
need your engineers saying, "Don't go, don't go, don't go, go."
Yeah.
right.
You have a spot like in NASCAR. You have a spotter. It's
Yeah.
still your engineer needs to be going. They have the analytics of where cars are on the track.
Yeah,
they have the track
exactly.
map. Like they know where the cars are. Each car is. That's how they find the gaps.
That and they also had different camera angles to see where they are on the track as
Yeah.
well. So
And I still do believe that it's up to Vettel to, as best as he can, re-enter the track safely, which again he didn't. Yeah, it is hard to see, but still, I mean, you
because
can't
I
just.
think they were saying the way that he was positioned on the track, there's no way that he can turn his head left to right,
Yeah.
completely to look over as well.
Again, that's why the
You should have.
engineer
No, I
needs to be
agree
on
with
the-
you exactly.
No, they need blinkers on F1 cars.
Oh,
Shoulder
yeah.
check, signal, and then turn. Didn't he
Blind
go
spot.
to driver school? Come on, Seb. Clearly he didn't, right?
I don't think so. I don't know what German driving schools are.
I don't know.
Drive as fast as you can on the Autobahn.
Yeah.
In a
Nailed
straight
it.
line. Yeah, in the spin, I mean, let's talk about the spin. We've seen this a lot of times in the last 2 years, but in wheel-to-wheel contact, and now he just loses the rear off at the exit of turn 9. And yeah, I mean, he just explained it as simply as I just lost the rear. It didn't seem like there was a technical issue with the car. My guess or suspicion would be that he's just trying to overdrive that car because he lost a place on the opening lap. He's already in 4th place. He's trying to push hard to catch Valtteri, and he just overdrives and make that mistake and just loses the rear easily.
I feel like that's been a lot of Sebastian Vettel mistakes this year, though.
Overdrive.
But also,
Yeah, I think so.
but also have led to some great drives, like with Germany and
Yeah.
doing what he did, like for Charles last week. So
True. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. Only he knows in his head why he's kind of struggling like this. But I would probably say it's his most toughest weekend of his F1 career.
Yeah, definitely. I would say it's up there.
To watch your
Well,
teammate,
I don't know. Canada's pretty tough this year.
I think
No,
this is
but
way tougher.
I think
Yeah.
I think he had a good performance, and it was just taken away from him. Where like he just didn't have a good performance
Right.
this entire weekend. You know.
And also, Lewis won that race, and it's the Canadian Grand Prix. No offense to the Canadian Grand Prix,
Mhm.
but this is Monza. This is the Italian Grand
Yeah.
Prix. And then I mean, he's been a Ferrari driver for 5 years, hasn't won the Italian Grand Prix. This is Leclerc's first year, first Italian Grand Prix with Ferrari, and he goes out and wins it.
Yeah.
And
Also, kudos to his Italian. He spoke very well right after in the post
did.
race interview.
Leclerc or
and
Vettel?
everything. Leclerc.
Yeah, he's fluent.
Yeah.
Very
And
impressive.
crazy. So I think that's why it's just so tough for him, because we were talking about this before, that we might change our opinion about the Dutch fans versus the Tifosi. No offense, Holland, I think they're
They were
mostly
still
Max
there,
fans.
though. They were still
They
there.
were, but
Even the commentators were even saying that the Dutch fans are still out here loud. So
I think the Tifosi fans, though, reminded us on why they were, they were, whatever you want to say, the best fans in F1 just because of the celebration
Oh
that
my
happened
God.
afterwards. They're partying the next day in the streets of Milan, and it get kind of rejuvenation in that city and that country for racing, almost to see the young buck come in and give him some hope. So we saw the passion come out, which was nice to see in Italian Grand Prix. We were talking about how now that's one of the races that is on the bucket list for sure.
oh
Yeah.
hell yeah,
but
for
I'm sure we'll see the same at the Dutch Grand Prix
Oh,
next year too.
100%.
Yeah, no, they're both great. I think people in the comments also made this distinction where the Dutch fans have really come along the last couple years because of Max, so they're
Yeah.
really behind their guy, whereas the Tifosi are more fans of, first of all, the sport, but also like Ferrari as a culture,
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I
That's
mean?
true.
And they're supporting their country and their heritage. I mean, 90 years of Ferrari, that's an
Yeah, it's a
incredibly long time.
Yeah.
So it's a way of life. I mean, you see like older Italian men, like 60, 70-year-olds men, they're like crying when the national anthem's going on.
Yeah.
Mattia Bonotto is taking video on his
Yeah,
phone. Like,
that
you
was
don't
cool.
see that often. And no other team or driver gets that winning a constructor's home race. Like, Mercedes won in Germany, and it's like, okay.
It was a pretty big one in Austria last year for Red Bull when they won at home after, I think, for the first
Yep.
time there over the oh my God, I'm forgetting the track name right now. The Red Bull
Red Bull Ring.
Red
Yeah.
Bull Ring. It's the first time they won there. So
Yeah, it's just a difference, and I think that's what's so special about winning there. I can't imagine what it's like standing on the top step of that podium,
Oh,
listening
crazy.
to your own national anthem and then the Italian national anthem, and there's just so
maybe
many
the
people.
two most fun combo of anthems.
Yeah, I think
Monaco
so.
and Italian.
I
Those are
forgot
Yeah,
the
good
German
anthems.
combo.
Yeah, no, the Monaco.
I mean,
it sounds
the
good.
entire stage was really well done too.
Yeah.
How it kind of like floated above everyone
Yeah,
else.
that's like
Yeah.
known as
Yeah.
like the best kind of podium in F1. Yeah, I want to throw this out just because we're talking about fans. Just imagine the crazy scenario if Max Verstappen became a Ferrari driver, and the Dutch fans plus the Tifosi fans
That'd be
as
a-
like a group.
Oh my
That'd be
God,
loud, man.
Holy, that would be something.
would they be wearing orange or red?
What does orange and red make? Is it just like a lighter red?
It's a red orange.
Yeah, I don't know. Burnt orange.
Or they do half, like pants are red?
I think
Tops
it'd be
are orange.
crazy.
Oh my God, I think
That
it
would
would
be something. That would take over F1. It would have to.
That'd be
But then
pretty,
McLaren fans would kind of, you wouldn't know if they're Dutch fans or Ferrari
ruining
fans or
it.
McLaren fans.
Well, Chris and I were talking about this last week. They have to make themselves blue at this point to
Yeah.
differentiate.
Yeah, they got to do something now. But that's a really interesting thought. Like, what would they do?
Happen?
It'd be pandemonium in Monza,
it would be.
especially, right? If
Monza,
Max were
it'd
to
be crazy.
win
If Max
as a
were to
Ferrari
win
driver,
in Monza, oh my God, as a Ferrari driver, yeah, that'd be. Or even if he wins at home as a Ferrari driver,
yeah,
either or
Mm-hmm.
would be crazy.
yeah, it's crazy. It's all. I wish we had like 2 Italian Grand Prix.
Oh, yeah, but nothing would feel as cool as Monza.
Yeah,
would it?
it's true.
And it's been such a long time. It's been 10 years almost since their last win.
Yeah,
it was in 2010.
2010 since Fernando Alonso.
And Alonso was at the Grand Prix, but
He was.
not there for the celebration. He left right away after the race. Didn't even want.
Not much to celebrate for McLaren at this race.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll get a little bit more into Charles Leclerc in a couple minutes. Just wrapping up on the rest of the events that happened in the race. Let's talk about the. Actually, just going back on the Sebastian Vettel spin. He's been handed 3 penalty points on his super license, so he's 3 points away from a race ban.
Wow.
Wow.
So pretty much one more major incident similar to this, and he's banned for a race. So now some of those points do come off.
Who's this? Now, sorry to interrupt. Just who would replace him if he were be replaced for a race?
Who's their reserve driver right now?
Is it Mick?
No, I don't think. I think Brendan Hartley's doing some testing, like in simulator work for them.
Where they bring Kimi Räikkönen up for a race?
That's a really good question.
Yeah.
Who
that'd
would
be
they bring up
interesting.
for a race if Sebastian Vettel got a race ban?
I'm not sure.
I think we.
I don't think it would be Mick because he doesn't have a whole lot of. I don't even think he has a super license yet.
Oh, he doesn't. Okay, well,
So I believe it would have to be their reserve driver, which I'm not sure who
I
it
don't
is
know
right
who
now.
that. Let me look it up
okay.
right now.
Well, yeah, so one of us will look it up.
Yeah, so we'll check that. But I know that they've had a couple of guys come through in the past couple of years as like sim and reserve drivers.
Yeah.
I don't know if Brendan Hartley's on because he's doing WEC.
I think he would leave that to come to.
Oh, for sure.
What, a Ferrari seat? Yeah. See you later.
It's only one race, right? But still, you maybe want somebody.
That'd be very interesting.
Bring back one of the heritage drivers. Like put like Jean Alesi in. Did you see Jean
Alonso
Alesi
comes
waving
back?
the flag?
Yeah.
He almost like fell
he almost
into the
fell.
track.
He was so pumped.
Yeah,
He was like,
that was awesome. And if you guys haven't seen the 90th celebrations in Milan that happened on Wednesday, oh my
Crazy.
God.
So it says Pascal Wehrlein and Brendan
Pascal
Hartley.
Wehrlein.
Really?
Wehrlein, sorry.
It's okay.
And then Brendan Hartley are the reserve and third drivers and test drivers.
There you go.
Pascal Wehrlein.
So I think it'd be
Oh,
Verline.
it'd be Wehrlein. There is.
That's
a name.
not that exciting.
Oh,
No
it's
offense,
not.
we like Pascal, but I was hoping it was
Hey,
somebody.
imagine Pascal Wehrlein comes in and wins the race. Oh,
Vettel
man.
sitting on the pit wall.
He's like,
Oh.
all right, well, I guess I just don't drive anymore.
Wehrlein has more
P1
wins.
Pascal, P1.
Wehrlein has more wins, and then Wehrlein gets to hear the German, and then the
Yeah, and the
Because he's
Italian
German.
anthems. Ouch.
oh man,
Oh,
scenes.
You're giving Seb nightmares.
Yeah,
He's
he
about
would
to
be.
fall over this table right now.
He is, poor guy.
So that's interesting. So keep an eye on that. Like I said, I think some of those points might come off because I think it's a year grace period, and then they're deducted again.
But when was the points added? Was it for Canada and then for this, or was
Yeah.
there an incident last year?
Well, there's probably incidents stemming from last year still that are on his license. So, yeah, but interesting. 3 points away. So keep an eye out for that. Okay, let's get into the Leclerc and Hamilton battle because this was similar to the Max versus Charles battle in Austria with different circumstances, different outcomes as well. But my opinion of it, especially the incident itself going into the chicane, was that
Right.
good, hard, fair racing. Did Charles Leclerc leave him room? No, not really, but I think that he left him enough room to be able to still race and try and make an overtake. And I actually kind of agree with what the stewards are starting to do with the black and white flag, giving the quote-unquote yellow card to the drivers. But I just think that there's no way that should be a penalty. And the racing was good, it was fair, and it's exactly what we need.
I think for once this year, the stewards were perfect in that scenario.
Oh, I agree.
Black and white flag is all you needed there. And you sent your message across. Hey, we didn't like what you did, but it wasn't really worthy of a penalty. Don't do it again. We'll give you a penalty.
Yeah.
Message was heard. Charles changed his tactic. Black and white flag used properly. That's what the flag's there for.
And I think since the Austrian Grand Prix, I think the stewards have been a little bit more fair towards the racers and for all these races, because I think there's, like you said, I think that was the perfect call. He gave him enough room to go by. Lewis Hamilton couldn't do anything out of it, so he was kind of stuck there in that position. But yeah, no, I agree. There's nothing else Charles Leclerc could have done in that situation.
What did you think of Hamilton's comments post-race when he said that it seems that the younger drivers are getting they're catching more of a break in terms of these wheel-to-wheel battles and racing? He said something similar along those lines, that the younger guys are sort of maybe getting judged a little bit different, than they're getting away with more than the more experienced ones, which I found was a pretty interesting comment to say, because
I don't really agree.
I don't really agree with
Sebastian
that either.
Vettel got a race win taken from him.
that was the first thing that came to my mind, because all the time when Hamilton was complaining in this scenario, I'm like, well, dude, you were on the pretty good end of a bad penalty call in Canada.
Yeah.
And I don't agree with it, because I think the younger drivers sometimes tend to get looked at differently than the more experienced ones, because they just don't have that respect yet.
Yeah.
But I think that in this case, it's like you said, in Austria, they took them 3-4 hours to make that decision whether there will be a penalty, and they didn't make that penalty. And I think since then that they've learned that, okay, that we can police this in a different way. We don't have to hand out a 5-second penalty like they did in Canada and ruin the whole race.
Yeah.
In that scenario, they could have given Vettel a black and white flag,
and white
right?
flag.
Hey, you made a mistake. We didn't like what you did. I think the way you summed it up was perfect, but don't do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it is in soccer, right? The
Yeah,
yellow card.
exactly.
You do that again, you're out.
Yeah.
So I completely agree that that's the way that we should go forward. And I don't know, some people were not happy with the stewarding. I think that this was probably one of the better races. I think the stewards were on top of every call.
They got the Kimi tires right.
Yeah, they were a hawk with that
I
one.
didn't even think of that, so that's pretty good with that.
No, yeah, the
Spotted that.
commentators didn't mention it either
Yeah.
until...
Oh, they didn't know till 15 or 20 laps in or something. It was pretty late. So.
Yeah. So I think that this is a step forward in the right direction. Kimi Räikkönen likes the black and white flag. I mean, if Kimi Räikkönen likes it...
I was going to say, we're pretty much good if Kimi Räikkönen likes this rule. Like,
Did he say that?
Yeah. I think it was... I was reading an article that he supported that system, because they used to have it a long time ago.
Yeah.
And they haven't been using it for a number of years. So if this is something new that Michael Massey and the FIA have brought in, then I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Because, again, when you look at that Leclerc incident, he didn't really leave a car's width. But, again...
But he didn't,
he's
veer
defending
into his path, you know? Like
Right. And he's defending the position for the race win. I mean, you're going to
was
rub
ahead.
wheels.
He was ahead.
He was ahead.
Yeah.
There's lots of things you can say into those instincts.
And wasn't it funny or kind of interesting when the battle continued, Leclerc misjudged the braking zone into turn 1, and he kind of went over the curb, rejoined the track in front of... Did anybody else get, PTSD?
Yeah, I was like, damn,
I was
what are they going to do here?
Oh,
though?
no, I was like, there's a 5-second penalty.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. I'm like, what are the stewards going to do here? Like, are they going to give it to him and just ruin his entire race?
Yeah. It's like, where have I seen this before?
Yeah.
But then Leclerc was able to, and we keep talking about how impressed we are by him, but able to sustain the pressure from a 5-time, about to be 6-time world champion, and then forced him into a mistake.
Yep.
And ultimately, that's what led to Leclerc just driving to a fairly comfortable win in the last 5 to 7 laps.
And I think Valtteri Bottas messed up his last lap.
Black and white flag.
Black and white flag. He got a black and white flag today, too.
Did I?
Yeah.
So one more, and I get, what,
One
a
more
10-second
race
stop
ban.
and go? Race ban.
Yeah, as you were
His
saying,
his last lap as soon
could've.
as just couldn't get the right drive, and I think that was the last moment. I think Toto Wolff was even just like,
no.
well, I guess that's gone then.
Yeah, he was
Why
close.
did I let go of Ocon? I wonder what, as a driver, because, I mean, you probably see that. Like, what do you think in that case? You're like, fuck, man. Damn it, there goes my 10-second penalty.
Race ban.
Yeah, I'm just like, what do you think in that scenario to see your boss just that disappointed?
Yeah, I
It's
don't
gotta
know. I mean, he put up a good fight. Just again, like you said,
That's
made
twice
that
this year
mistake.
we've seen Toto Wolff pissed off. We never see him pissed off. First time at Germany at Valtteri Bottas.
Wow,
No,
yeah.
no. That's twice at Valtteri.
Well, he has a contract for next year,
Yeah.
so
So
I'm
he's
gonna
good.
be
He's
like,
good.
"Yeah, I
He's
don't care."
good.
True.
I can mess up all I want.
Yeah, I got a contract.
Yeah, so that's an impressive drive from Leclerc. And that Ferrari engine, man, oh my God, Mercedes couldn't do anything on the straights.
No.
And it's difficult to overtake in other areas of the track, but they, even with DRS,
And
Hamilton,
they had the slipstream as well. They couldn't do anything.
true.
So.
And finally, I mean, this is the second race in a row Ferrari's called the strategy right. To
They
go on
nailed that.
on the hard tire, knowing that they're not going to last in the mediums, was a
Yeah.
brilliant call.
And Hamilton's tires didn't last, so we saw that.
Yeah.
You know.
Massive blisters, yeah. And Ferrari saw it in the Friday free practice. It wasn't going to work for them, so good to make that call because in the end, like the long-term game, it worked out for them well. In the short term, Leclerc had to defend, but yeah, I think it was a really good race from him.
Yeah.
And his second win in a row. So, and I just think it was after last weekend really nice to see him enjoy this victory.
Mm-hmm.
And at such a big stage.
Oh yeah,
too.
he really enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. We'll get back onto Leclerc, but just another couple of things in the race. Where did that pace from Renault come from?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. They've done something right this week, and I don't know where it's been the rest of the season, but somehow they've managed to pull it off.
Yeah, their setup was perfect this weekend.
Danny
Beautiful.
Ricciardo says it was pizza.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He had like 10 pizzas throughout the week
Yeah,
in Italy.
apparently he said it was pizza.
Oh well, that's a Danny Rick answer.
Pizza power.
I like it.
They had.
We need more Danny Rick. We haven't had as much
do.
fun Danny Rick this year.
I know, it's a shame, man. I miss seeing him. And he's been pulling some good overtakes in that
Yeah.
Renault in the last couple races.
Mhm.
I miss seeing that at the front.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, very good drive from Renault. Somehow managed to pull it off. They looked a lot like they did last year.
I was thinking if one of those top 3 crashes, Ricciardo's got a
Oh,
podium.
I was thinking the same. I was like,
What?
oh, one of these Mercedes could just blow an engine right now. It'd be perfect.
Yeah, have a nice little cheeky Ricciardo Renault podium.
Yeah, that would have been awesome. I mean, they had good pace in Spa, and they couldn't necessarily convert it in the race. At least Ricciardo didn't. But even in qualifying, they were setting like fastest first sectors.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They were great. 4th and 5th. They've launched up in the Constructors' Championship. They're still behind McLaren, but they're a bit closer now. So, I don't know. Hopefully they figured out something.
I think they finally
Maybe.
figured it out. I'm saying it now. I'm
Well,
gonna
now
be
we go to
wrong.
completely opposite track though in Singapore,
Yeah,
where it's like
it's
all
true.
downforce. So we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah. And just FYI, we have a Renault driver making their debut in our Backmarkers F1 Power Rankings.
Who will it be? One of the two.
You're
That's
going to
There's
have to
only
tune in
two-
to find
there's only
out.
two
There's only
answers.
two.
But yeah, mighty impressive from the boys in yellow. And on the other side of things, Daniel Kvyat and Carlos Sainz. Unfortunate, disappointing run for them, especially for Kvyat, who was in 6th. He was ahead of Albon at the
Yeah.
time, and it was, I believe, a power unit failure. And Carlos Sainz was a pit stop mistake, so a loose wheel. I think it was the right front. Excuse me. And they were both running in good positions. Carlos Sainz, the only guy that put in a flying lap in Q3
Yeah.
in the second run. So they were on for some good points, but yeah, just reliability again kicks in.
Yeah,
It's the Alonso effect, isn't it?
Yeah,
It is.
second
And
unlucky
it
week
shows
for
up.
Carlos Sainz. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it
Yeah.
is the second one, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
last week
Second in
too.
a row, but again, not his fault. So unfortunate for Carlos, and hopefully he can have a little bounce back in Singapore. Not personally, but kind of the whole team.
Yeah, I mean, he's had a great year, and to
Yes.
come back from the summer break and have 2 unlucky races, he needs to. I don't think he needs to come back. I think like McLaren as a team need a little push for the rest of the season, because even
Yeah.
last week Lando had a great race and just couldn't make it to the end. And I think Lando had a pretty good race this week overall.
I would agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was disappointed too with Racing Point because they could have had a really good haul of points. Had
Well,
obviously.
one issue, not their fault.
Yeah,
Really.
definitely. It wasn't their fault. The penalty that they took obviously was Stroll's issue, but had Vettel not spun, I think that they would have been on for a double points finish.
Mm-hmm.
Perez did a
Perez
good
had a
job.
really good race.
Yeah, very good. And Lance Stroll got into Q3.
First time this year.
Impressive. Something about Monza with Lance Stroll. He just loves
He
it.
likes Monza.
It's his best track by far. And
Well, Baku.
yeah,
Well, he's only podium. You have to say Baku,
yeah, but I think that he's had more consistent performance this year, like more
Yeah.
things that kind of stood out to me.
That's
But
true.
But yeah, Baku obviously with the podium. But yeah, still with Perez starting at the back of the grid to get up. I think he finished P7 was really good. So it seems like Racing Point starting to come in to their own in the second half of the season, which is a good push for the end. But it was nice to see Lance Stroll starting to kind of stretch his legs a little bit in that
Yeah.
Racing Point.
Yeah. Getting
And
a little more comfortable towards the end of the season.
for sure. Yeah, and that points battle between the two drivers, I think, will be close at the end of the year. And I think if Lance Stroll can finish ahead of Sergio in the driver's standings, will be a pretty good feather in his cap, as they say, going into 2020. So we'll see. The qualifying battle is obviously sealed.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not a huge difference. It's only a 8-point difference between them. So
Yeah, obviously Stroll had the huge haul in Germany with the P4.
Yeah.
Now Perez had 2 good results in Belgium and now in Italy. So yeah, it should be good for them. And shout out to Antonio Giovanazzi, Italian driver, home race.
Didn't
P9.
bin it. He didn't
Yeah.
bin it.
Did not.
yeah,
Did
big
not.
comeback after last week. After almost finishing the race in the top 10, and then to come back and get a top 10 finish. It's good for him.
Yeah, it was great. Great support. I love the Alfa Romeo livery as well that they put on, the special livery, which I hope they keep for the rest of the year. I think that should be
Yeah, it
a
was really
permanent
well
livery.
done. Yeah.
It's nice.
The driver suits were great as well. A couple of great tribute helmets. Like Vettel had an amazing helmet. He kind of went like an old school, back to when the drivers only used to use one helmet in pretty much a whole season. So like they were in the design, there were things that were scarred up or kind of looked like it was just worn and torn. So it was a really, really nice touch. He's
Lando
got the
Norris
best.
Had a nice Valentino Rossi tribute.
And
His
the
bu-
boots.
all weekend.
The bucket hat was better though.
Bucket
Yeah.
hat and shirt were really good.
Although Carlos Sainz didn't seem to agree.
Did
No.
you guys see the video earlier this week when he was playing with Max Verstappen on like a live simulator, and you can just hear Max on the headset? It's like, Lando, what the fuck are you wearing? He's like, it's a Valentino Rossi collection, mate. I just got it. He's like, oh, man.
Well, I don't know if it was Max, but there was another highlight too on his little gaming channel of someone replayed his audio from his engine failing in Belgium. No.
It was so soft. Poor guy. It was so innocent. It was
Yeah,
like,
it was. Again, he's ever more becoming my favorite driver on the
Yeah, I
grid.
was
Just
saying with
week
me,
to
he's-
week
he's
to
up
week. It's
there.
just like, oh man, I love the guy.
There's some great content. I'm excited to also see Matt from WTF1 go out to London and scream about
Oh,
his
yeah.
ring,
He
so-
did that today already.
Yeah, but the video isn't out yet, though,
Oh, I
right?
thought it was. I'm not sure.
Oh,
Maybe not.
it might be. I might be
What
wrong.
was the tweet again?
He said it's something about not being a fanboy, just being passionate.
Oh.
but he's just supposed to? What is he supposed to yell?
I think that's what he's
Oh,
supposed
that's
to
what he's
yell.
supposed to yell?
Yeah.
Because I saw Leclerc responded to him, and he's like, "Oh, can't wait to see it." And he's like, "Oh no, what have I done?" Now, because obviously he had to do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's funny. It's so funny seeing drivers interact with.
Yeah, it shows that they're
YouTubers.
like a little human.
Well, I think he's
Yeah.
actually like he's met Charles Leclerc and Lando Norris as well. So
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Lando, I don't know if they know each other, but they've done a lot of videos with those, like
Yeah.
the young generation of formerly F2 drivers.
yeah.
So,
Actually,
yeah.
speaking of, did you guys see the Daniel Ricciardo Infinity commercial thing?
Yes.
No.
Matt from WTF1 is in that one as well.
Oh.
But
He's
it's
great.
basically it's them in supposedly in Montreal. They say it's in Canada, but it's basically him like becoming like an employee of Infinity, and it's basically him trying to become like employee of the month, and it's just him like taking Matt from WTF1 on to try one of the Infinities, and he's like, "Yeah, we're gonna go test it," and then he's like takes the keys away from him. He's like, "No, I take like a much different approach when it comes to testing," and it's just him just doing full like 360 like burnouts just in the
Oh,
parking
yeah.
lot.
And he comes to work in his Renault F1 car
Yeah.
and just like parks it on there.
I haven't seen that. I'll have to watch it.
It's pretty good.
He's
It's
a pretty good
good.
actor.
Yeah, he is. It was well done.
Yeah. He-
But I don't understand. Isn't Infinity a sponsor of Red Bull?
No, they've
They also
moved to Renault.
sponsor. Yeah,
Oh, they did move to
Yeah.
Renault.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because
I
it used
missed
to be
that.
Infinity Red Bull Racing,
Yeah.
and then when they switched to Aston Martin, then now they're
Oh,
partners with
I guess
Renault.
maybe I was just way behind. So.
Yeah, he's hilarious, man. That was like it didn't really get that much views at the time. I don't know what it's up to now.
No, but it
But-
was pretty good. Yeah.
That's a perfect guy you want if you're trying to market your
Yeah.
company.
I'll watch
sure.
after.
Yeah. All right. But just to, I guess, wrap up this episode talking about Charles Leclerc. He's the man of the last 2 races. And I can't help but wonder that after seeing Leclerc the last 2 races, but especially in this race, do we think that Vettel's chance to win a title at Ferrari has already passed? It seems like
No.
the best days are behind him.
No, I don't think so. I think it's still next year.
I think he still has next year. I think the next 2 years should be kind of his moment. And then I think after that, I might say he might not win one, but I think the next 2 years he still has a good chance to get himself a title.
He's a 4-time world champion.
Yeah,
He
Yeah.
can do it.
you can never knock him out.
No, I'm fully behind him, and I have no doubt in his abilities even after all these mistakes. And obviously, a lot of people online they were asking Crofty, oh, do you think Ferrari will drop him now and all this type of stuff?
No, for sure not.
I think that's just ridiculous
Yeah.
talk in all honesty, because first of all, who are you going to replace him with?
Pascal Wehrle.
Exactly. You're just proving my point.
Yeah.
There's nobody to replace him with, and why would you let a 4-time world champion walk to a rival being,
yeah.
Red Bull?
What would you do? Or you swap Raikkonen with Vettel and Vettel's racing in Alpha? Like,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
I think Vettel could walk into literally any team and still have a good chance to win, but he has top picks for sure. But I don't think Ferrari's ever going to do that.
And I think that the support that Vettel gets within the team is still great. When you saw him at the event, the CEO of Ferrari, the Ferrari execs, they're close with him, and they're very happy with Sebastian Vettel in terms of what he brings to the team. And yeah, like last couple of seasons, he's had some mistakes, but he's also produced a lot of wins for them and a lot of pole positions, and he's put them back into a position where they can challenge for a championship.
Yeah.
So I think that notion that Ferrari are going to drop him is just crazy. He's going to be there until he wants to be, in my opinion, for the next couple of years.
Yeah, for sure.
I just kind of looked at it in the sense of when you see the Q3 incident that happened between them, I see a shift in the relationship now, because before they were pretty happy-go-lucky, right? They were helping each other. When the Bahrain issue happened, Sebastian was like, too bad for Charles, and Charles was the same way in Canada. But with Leclerc being a little selfish in Q3, not going ahead to provide that tow, it kind of showed that he's got that winning instinct, right? And I think that Vettel probably realized maybe for the first time that this isn't going to be – Leclerc isn't just going to move over and let him win races. So he's got to go and take it from him. And even the handshake afterwards, I don't know if you saw during the team photo, I guess it's expected, but it wasn't the most friendliest of handshakes. Leclerc wasn't – Leclerc didn't really look so apologetic to him or any sense. It was kind of a cold handshake, just looking at it from afar. So that's an interesting dynamic, in my opinion, with how the relationship will turn out for the rest of the year, especially after Italy. Go ahead.
That's up to Matteo Bonanno to
Make that
liaison,
call, really,
make
yeah.
sure that his drivers are on the same page.
Yeah. It's going to be a tough challenge for him now, and
Yeah.
especially next year if they've got the best car on the grid, Vettel will then be able to show what he's got. And, I was just thinking, because in terms of when you look at the last couple of years, he's had Kimi Räikkönen alongside him, which was a clear number 2 driver.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that 2018, 2017 seemed like the best chance for him to win a world championship. Now you're in a difficult situation where not only are you battling the Mercedes still, you're also battling Charles Leclerc. And clearly Charles Leclerc is not going anywhere. All the questions are answered about him dealing with pressure, how he's going to deal being a young driver in Ferrari with all that pressure. He's already dealt with it. And winning in Monza just further cemented it. And now, the entire team is behind him. So he's going to start to get favored strategies, et cetera, et cetera. So I almost looked at it as if, maybe his chance and maybe his time to win a world title has already passed. But I hope not.
I don't think so.
I don't think so
I don't
either,
think so.
for sure.
Fair enough. Well, we'll see what happens.
We will soon see a P1 Sebastian, P1.
Does he win a race this year?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so too.
I'm going to call it. I'm
yeah.
going to call the race he wins.
Which one?
Japanese Grand Prix.
I'm
I'm
just thinking
calling
in
it.
terms of the track.
Yeah.
Calling it.
There's a lot of downforce needed there.
I'm calling it.
Okay. Wet race, maybe.
Calling it.
All I'll say is that I think it's going to be unexpected.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what I'm saying.
Because when we
But
predicted
you're
this
expecting
weekend,
it, so it's not the unexpected.
But yeah,
What?
my brain hurts.
Yeah. I mean in terms of Hamilton will get pole, he'll start 4th on the grid, and then something will happen
Oh,
and he'll win. Or it'll be a track where Ferrari's just not that good for whatever reason, and then Germany style wet race will happen or something. I don't know. Hopefully.
hopefully he wins.
No.
I always want Sebastian to win.
Yeah.
I like him.
The power tracks though, are the European season's done, and that was kind of the last of the power heavy circuits.
USA, there's some.
Mexico, you have the long
You have
straight.
the long straight.
That's about it. Abu Dhabi,
No. Boring racetrack.
true. Little straight, but
I guess that's really it.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. Unless Ferrari have found something with their car, but I still think they're struggling there.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Vettel will win the Vietnamese Grand Prix
Next year.
next year.
Oh, that'll be a long time without a win. I'll tell you that. Anything else then from the Italian Grand
No,
Prix?
I don't think so. Singapore. will be
Just
fun.
driver of the day then.
Oh, for us, driver of the day. Okay, you guys go first.
Charles Leclerc for me. The way he dealt with Lewis Hamilton, the way he dealt with Valtteri, the fact that Vettel spun and left him out there to dry with 2 Mercedes at his back and still won the race. Charles Leclerc, driver of the day.
I'm gonna pick 2.
Oh my goodness.
I'm just gonna pick Renault.
Oh man. I was like, oh, I'll be different from the guys. I'll go with Daniel Ricciardo. But now that you guys said that, I need another driver. So
I mean, Charles Leclerc's a given for sure. Like he definitely
Yeah.
the best driver in the grid. But in terms of stuff we haven't seen this season, I'm just gonna give it to both Hülkenberg and Daniel Ricciardo. I think they both did a very good job.
yeah.
Do you need suggestions?
No, I'll just agree with both your points, which is unappetizing, but
Fair enough.
Yeah,
those are my 2. I was hoping you'd be like, oh yeah, Charles Leclerc, and I'd be like, Daniel Ricciardo, and
I got you.
you didn't get me.
It's settled then.
All right.
Okay, one last thing quickly before we go is interesting. I was reading this on the way over here about Michael Schumacher. Apparently, he's been transported to a hospital in Paris for a secret treatment. We haven't heard from, or we haven't heard anything about him really.
Last year, 6 months.
Yeah. Apparently, he's been getting. These are just rumors too, but it was written in the article that he's been getting like stem cell therapy.
Oh, okay.
Which it's good for you, and it's helping regenerate obviously a lot of his cells in the injury to his brain. But yeah, they just called it in quotations like a special treatment. So I'm not exactly sure what it is. They're probably not going to disclose it, but I don't know if we'll hear anything from this following the procedure.
Maybe they finally figured out a way to make people live forever. Maybe this is it. This is the one,
Maybe.
guys.
He's got
the first test.
They've got the money, that's for sure. He's getting the best treatment out there. So yeah.
Well, we're all hoping and fighting for Michael, so
Yeah.
we'll always want him to do.
Yeah, always hoping for
Best
some more
recovery.
information, but
Yeah.
you know, understandably we don't really get it. So yeah, I just wanted to pass that along to all the viewers out there. And also the news on Rich Energy and Haas.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
No more.
Officially split.
No mas. Effective immediately.
They're very
Excuse
poor,
me.
actually.
Rich Energy.
Poor energy.
Nice.
So yeah, they won't be running the Rich Energy decals or logos or anything in Singapore. The car livery will still stay black and gold, but no more of the Rich Energy anywhere.
Well, I mean,
Sponsors apply now.
yes. I was gonna say, would they go with anything other than black and gold? But I guess
I'm trying to think of brands that are black and gold. I said it doesn't matter as long as you get a major brand on board.
Yeah.
That's all they care about.
Yeah, exactly.
Magnum ice cream.
Magnum ice cream.
Yeah, they are. I think they are black and gold, right?
Yeah.
I think they'll be looking for something now.
Duracell.
Duracell.
Duracell batteries.
I thought for a second that was the one with the bunny, but that's obviously the
Energizer.
Energizer. Yeah.
That would be good as well, though.
Yeah. So open sponsorships out there. If you're looking to sponsor Haas, maybe we'll try and put our logo on their car.
Your company. Hey, they might take it.
Maybe, right?
Got no money.
Here's £100.
Yeah.
Go
Why
for
don't
it.
you sponsor us and put our name on your car?
Yeah. Hey, we don't have money, but we got heart.
Yeah.
We do have heart.
So there you go.
And guess what? We love you, Haas.
And the other thing that we do have is F1 Power Rankings that will be coming out.
Yes, shortly.
We're really plugging this throughout this show. Coming out in the next couple days. We got 2 weeks until the Singapore Grand Prix, so and then it will be another back-to-back after that. So we'll have the preview for that race coming out next week, and then Power Rankings coming out later this week. So keep an eye out for that. And keep on subscribing. I think we're past 1,100 now, like we said the last couple of races. I'm reading some things that YouTube might be getting rid of the public subscriber accounts. I hope not, because that would be incredibly stupid, but I wouldn't be surprised because YouTube does some pretty stupid stuff.
They might add it to like the red YouTube or red tube or whatever.
Premium?
Yeah, YouTube
Red tube. You
Premium.
don't want to go on that.
We are not there.
There was a YouTube Red at one point, was there not?
There was.
Still is.
There was.
Okay.
So is the YouTube Premium just like subscribing for music,
Yeah,
or can you see other channels?
you don't get ads.
Oh, okay. I doubt a lot of people are watching us through there, so I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
If you guys are interested in that, we can post the subscriber count, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, keep on subscribing. And that notification, too. Beside it is the bell. You always get notifications on your phone, and I think also through email as well anytime we drop a new video. So please do that, and then you can stay up to date with all of our content.
Yep.
Yep.
Good?
Perfect.
Bene from everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks again, guys, and we'll see you in the next couple of days.